you had Derek.
No.
Oh my God, the guy from the Spurs.
Derek
White. Yeah, I was thinking Derek Brown, and I was like, this wrong color. Derek White. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Think RBA podcast. As always, I'm your boy Chico, here with the man himself, Mr. Okada, sir.
Okada in the building.
What is good?
We are here, sir.
Here, back in the building.
Sir.
Where's the Funk Master
Funk
Flex?
Master Flex. Yeah. Hot 97.
Not going to be Hot 97 today. It was a Hot 97, though.
It was a Hot 100
this whole weekend.
Yeah, that's
it
crazy.
was crazy. But want to start, because we started, a couple weeks ago before the finals. We had a little finals recap.
Yes.
And or not finals recap, finals, trying to determine who's going to win.
Predictions. Yes.
Little friendly fun in that,
yes.
friendly fire.
Yes, we did.
And in the meantime, while that's been going on, we've both been gearing up for our summer basketball season.
Yes.
And there's been some other news. So there's been a lot going on in the sports world, both personally and outside of our personal lives. Right. So I wanted to kind of paint one particular picture. So we're getting ready to for the boys to play together in the sports season, right?
Yes. Get back together, right?
Back together, bring the band back together. You're coaching them. I'm helping.
We're trying to.
I'm helping.
To coach.
I was banished from the bench from last year. I only got an all-star win. That's all. But
hold on a second.
That's fine. I got banished from the bench.
This is the guy who wouldn't take the role that was assigned to him. I'm too big for this role.
What role?
They come in and you coach.
I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna coach the practice when y'all are gonna miss. So it's okay. It's fine.
This guy. All right.
I'm actually gonna be contributing as a videographer for the team this year, so we can do some film study.
That's Tex Winners right there.
But there's been other big news in the basketball world.
Oh yeah,
and that is that the Los Angeles Lakers finally have a head coach.
Right.
And it's none other than the podcast duo themselves, right?
Right.
Everybody says LeBron is the coach, even though he opted out of his contract. JJ Redick. And so just in case you didn't think there was ever any hope for you, I wanted to...
For me?
For you, yeah.
Hope for what?
Hope for your coaching career, we'll call it.
Oh, okay. I have no idea where he's going with this, but I'm here for it.
JJ Redick, from 23 to 24.
Okay.
2023 to 2024 was a volunteer, 4th grade youth basketball coach.
Oh, that's right. For his kids.
And now
for his sons.
He is 24, 25.
Yeah, what a transition.
He's going to be the Los Angeles Lakers head coach. So,
okay, I have hope.
In case you ever wondered whether you could transition, you have more coaching experience right now than JJ. So you too, Hak, Mr. Okada, can go from being I can't even get it out.
Seriously.
This guy, a youth basketball coach.
My man's a comedian.
I mean,
now.
he only coached 4th grade. You've been doing 5-6.
Wow.
You'll have 2 seasons of 5-6.
Wow. I appreciate it. Thank you, sir.
You're to have 2 seasons of 5-6 under your belt.
This is what I got dressed up for.
Next thing I know, you gonna be coaching the 76ers next year.
Wow.
There's hope, bro.
Okay.
There's hope. You can jump from volunteer youth sports to the NBA.
Wow.
And put in a system.
I'm literally wow. Okay.
And have a podcast. Like you got you are on the JJ Turd trajectory.
I truly am, except that I don't have LeBron sitting on the flip side of me interviewing for the longest interview ever for a head coaching job.
Is that not the longest interview ever?
It's gotta be.
That's crazy.
This might be the new format of interviews going forward.
Like he just systematically worked his way in there. Like,
I mean,
let me start a podcast with Braun.
Right.
And I'm going to go through
drop
all my thoughts,
knowledge.
drop my knowledge.
Yeah.
Oh, this guy can coach us.
Go.
But No, I definitely. I'm like at this point. Is there a team that you wouldn't take?
That I wouldn't take to coach? Listen, man, I will coach whatever team they need me to coach
for that kind of money.
Whether they respect me or want to hear me or not, I'm okay. Like I'll deal with it. I can put up with it. I got thick skin.
Yeah,
I can handle it.
I mean, look, if anybody could go from volunteer 5'6" to the league, it's you, bro. I know.
Wow. Well, I appreciate the faith and the
oh my god,
the flip comedic gesture.
So I actually saw the image and I tried to pull it up and it just went away. But like, there's an actual image that shows like his coaching experience. I saw it on Twitter earlier. I was like, okay, I gotta open the episode with this.
That's hilarious.
There's hope for you after all.
From
that don't happen in the NFL. So for me coaching football, you got to grind it out for a while. You got to be volunteer, unpaid, sleeping on sofas, and trying to work your way up as a quality control. Some people like Eric Spoelstra, they had to start from being a video assistant, video editor, quality control. Whatever, and work their way all the way up. But, other people like Mr. Okadan, I
don't know about that.
Go from...
That's it. Minus the credentials of being a NBA basketball player.
I mean...
Having the connections.
It is crazy because I will say he's definitely got a great mind for the game.
Yeah, he does.
But it's really one of those, you look around, man, there's so many other, super qualified coaches
absolutely.
That have been grinding it out and grinding it out. And it's just one of those that doesn't quite sit right.
No,
but
you don't think so?
Not with me. I feel like there's too many other, well-qualified coaches for him to just come in and take, not only any job. This is the Los Angeles fucking Lakers now. This is one of the cornerstone prime NBA franchises.
And the primetime player.
And you got the face of the league. Potentially, once they draft Bronny. But no, I mean, I just think that it's one of those where it's that's quite interesting.
I mean,
there's a certain level of privilege potentially involved in that.
Clearly.
But I will say, there's been other players that have transitioned to, successful, coaching roles too. But usually they have some kind of assistant, you know what I mean?
Right.
Steve Kerr was an assistant before.
Right.
You've had and you talk about qualified guys now. What about fucking Sam Cassell?
Yeah. Sam Cassell for sure.
Why is he not getting looks for jobs? But then we go hire JJ Redick.
It's a valid point. Very valid point.
So the question I have for you is, do you think, I think I know what your answer is going to be, but do you think that they're going to buy into him, the players?
I think, honestly, it depends on how he comes into that first practice, how he sets that tone. Or if he comes in all buddy, then I don't see that going well too far, too long. But if he comes in almost F what y'all think, I'm not here to be your friend, I'm here to be your coach. And he comes in with that kind of mind frame and that attitude, then he could garner there. Also, again, being a former player who's played at a high level, right? Known as one of the best shooters ever, as a top tier shooter.
Okay.
He's a top tier shooter.
I'll give you that.
Right? Knowing as that, sure, you may want to hear out what he says, right? He played with other greats. He played with CP3, with prime Dwight Howard. So he has that experience and he has the respect of the other greats who looked at him, right? Kobe worked out with him. Players like that worked out, they respect him. Jamal Crawford, all these guys. So you can see, what's funny? As you asked that question, I was thinking that whole Lob City Clippers crew is almost spread into the media in other parts of the NBA.
Yeah.
You see Chris Paul doing a lot more of those type of interviews now. Matt Barnes, right? You got the who's the other? I can't remember. And they always crack on him. He's on was it First Take? And he has these wild outtakes. I can't remember his name now, but he'd be saying some crazy stuff. I can see his face. I just don't recall what his name was. Him, Jamal Crawford, all these guys are just kind of getting into the whole.
That just means we're getting old.
Is that what that means?
We're watching our players transition into their second careers.
But why that team? That team specifically is truly
and it was under Doc too,
right?
So
right,
and I'm sure that with the coaches he grew up under Stan Van Gundy.
And right.
Doc. He's had some really good coaches he's played for. So it's just going to be a matter for me is whether he can. It's going to be, I think, his relationship with Bron and how he navigates that in front of the team is going to dictate what happens with the rest of it.
So do you think he would go at Bron to set that precedence that Bron is not bigger than?
I mean, he's almost. I mean, only if it's legit. I mean, you can't just go after him just to go after him.
Because like Pop would go at Timmy.
Okay, but here's the difference though. Pop drafted Timmy.
That's true. That's
right.
true.
It's same thing with Belichick and Brady. Yeah. Belichick drafted Brady, so Brady was a 6th round pick. You can go after him. It's not
Timmy
like
wasn't.
It's not like he came in as the GOAT and now all of a sudden you're going after him. No. So I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how they handle that. I mean, I don't think they have a championship roster.
No.
And
it's going to take time for that.
How much time is left?
Correct.
And after 2-3 years, is JJ going to be right back to podcasting? And
so is he going to podcast while he coaches?
And that's going to be another part is what's going to happen with, and I don't know if that's come out yet or not. I haven't done that level of research at this point.
Is his own podcast, Mind the Game podcast, right?
He's got a bunch of different business ventures
correct.
around the podcasting space.
So
somebody's going to have to take over Old Man and the Three.
Or it might just go on hiatus for a bit.
I could see them just having, because they have other frequent guests.
They do.
I'm sure that they could get somebody.
Tyrese Halliburton, I think, does some of their mailbags.
Or even some of the recently retired players. I'm sure somebody could come in and temporarily take it over until, or maybe not. Maybe he'll end up being a Hall of Fame coach and coach for the next 10 years.
He could be the next Steve Kerr.
I mean, you never know.
Yeah.
You never know. But very interesting. I just had to laugh because I was like, he went from, when I saw volunteer 4th grade, I just thought of you immediately. I was like, oh, Hak's on the trajectory.
I'm there. I'm on the path. I'm on the right path. Minus all the credentials.
Minus the fact that you didn't play in the NBA.
Correct.
And you didn't play at Duke for 4 years.
Correct. I wasn't the most hated man on the planet.
But you know what? Look, you might be the most hated man in this particular
area. It might be. You're right.
Oh wait, we got the coach with the turban. Wait, you don't want to work for. You don't want to play for him. Why? Because he has a turban? No, it has nothing to do with the turban. It has to do with how he works the kids.
Maniacal, maniac.
But no, it's good though. It's good for them.
Yeah. No, this is fun.
But before we talk about you and your coaching and getting into basketball, NBA Finals, it was so sad to see. Oh,
I'm sure it was. I'm sure, yeah.
My heart was broken. Just a gentleman's sweep.
It was a gentleman's sweep.
One game.
Should we get the broom out?
One game. I mean,
where's the broom?
The broom's not in here, so we won't get the broom out for the gentleman's sweep this time. But it came and went pretty quickly.
It did.
There wasn't much resistance.
Not much at all.
Other than one particular game. I kind of feel like Boston just like, you know what? We want to win this in Boston. We don't want to win this in Dallas. And kind of took that game off. Like once that
was quite a game off though.
That was quite a game off. But like once it started going bad, I was like, you know what? Let's just let this go bad. We're already up 3-0. Like they're not going to beat us in Boston. And clearly they weren't. I mean, from start to finish though, this season, Boston was such a juggernaut. I mean,
I think when they picked up Drew, that I think was the solidifying piece.
That swapping him for Smart was a smart move. No knock on Marcus Smart because he's a great player.
Oh, he is a great player.
I just think it solidified them because he was more of a true point guard.
Yes.
And he learned, and he as I've seen Drew grow, like being more comfortable floating to the corner and allowing space for Jalen and Jason to do their thing, and they could just drive and kick. And he proficient at knocking down those corner or wing threes.
He's a true 3-and-D.
A true, like literally true 3-and-D, but he can also handle the ball and get his too, which is great. So, Drew was a key piece, and so was Horford. Horford was a key piece. I was very happy
Porzingis?
to see my boy Horford. Before we get to him, Horford, I was very happy to see my boy Horford to give him some flowers. Finally, I think he had the longest like active streak of years in the league without a title. And I was not happy when he left Atlanta for Boston. And the way that he left out. But time has healed those wounds.
Those wounds.
Those wounds. Yeah. You know, as I say, time heals all wounds.
Some wounds.
Well, yeah, some, not all. But that wound got healed.
Got it.
Because it wasn't that deep. And so I was happy for him. Very happy to see him because he came in as a guy who, you know, they kept saying he needs to play the 4. He's too small for the 5. He needs to play the 4. And he not only did he play the 5, played it well, undersized, but he came into the NBA at that right time where the league started to shift to more of the undersized guys. And then to his credit, to give him those flowers, he added that 3-pointer.
He did.
And when he added that 3-pointer, that extended his career significantly because he became such a threat. Right. On both way, inside and out. So I was very happy for him. You said Porzingis, man. The Porzingis game.
The first game.
Yeah. First game. And he battled through injuries and still gutted it out, even though he wasn't playing optimal amount of minutes, and I'm sure he would like to play, but he still had to get out when he was able to get out there and put on first team. So well deserved. It was good to see. And it was like, look, the former Atlanta Hawks, New York Knicks players are all getting that love now.
There you go.
So what did you feel about the Finals MVP between Brown and Tatum?
So I'm gonna be honest. This was probably the first finals that I felt like I'm old. I didn't watch most of it. The only finals game I watched was the one with you, the first half of that blowout game. I didn't get a chance to watch any part of the finals.
You are getting old.
I am getting old.
It's because you were too busy working up your 5-6 boys basketball scheme. So you can get ready for your interview for the
Sixers.
No, for the Wizards. Come on, man. Hey, look, they might need a new coach next year.
That one I probably could take directly from 5-6. No,
again, Porzingis, another Wizard.
There you go, former Wizard.
So the Hawks, the former Wizards, Hawks, and Knicks.
There you go,
getting chips.
Yay. Respect. No, so I didn't really get to watch a whole lot, but from whatever I saw, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with Brown getting that MVP because I felt like even the year that they lost against the Warriors, Brown was the best player. He was clearly the best player on that team. He was the best conditioned. He worked the hardest every possession. It was him. Sure, Tatum gets his, but Brown is, I feel like he is doesn't get the notoriety as the best player on that team. But in my opinion, I think he is the best player. And that may be an unpopular opinion. But I'm okay with him getting the MVP. I also feel like he's a few years behind his prediction or his own prediction that he put out. 5 rings in 5 years. He's 4 behind.
I mean, they still got a few more years to go.
But those 5 years are over.
But they've all pretty much re-upped new contracts.
They did. So maybe we have to restart that timeline again. However, so I was okay with it. I don't know about you. What about you?
I was, because Tatum in the beginning started slow. When I looked at the raw numbers afterwards, it's like, the numbers actually favor Tatum, which I thought was interesting. I think Tatum came on stronger late. I think it could have went either way, but
those numbers offensively or both sides of the
floor? You're talking about I was talking about just the offense.
Okay.
But no, I was fine with it, but I think it literally could have went either way. The numbers definitely would have slanted towards Tatum, but if you actually watched the first couple games, he was.
Who had the most impactful non-stat based plays? Not everything that goes into a stat sheet.
Well, there was some other guys you could throw into that, like
True,
Drew
right.
Yeah, I mean that if you were to go with that too, but no, I definitely think Jalen did his thing. I mean that he really put some folks on notice. I think that because he really a star. I mean, he getting paid star money.
He don't get respect,
but he's second fiddle. He's like, take mine.
Yeah, absolutely. Take mine.
So that was good to see.
You know what's even crazy about him? Like, I love hearing that off the court, he is even more amazing. Like the things that he's doing. He's teaching MIT courses, robotics, and like I'm sorry, like they said that when he was coming into the NBA, they were scared of him because he was too smart. That was the talk. He's too smart. And when you hear that, right? So like, I'm truly like, I love hearing these players who like break that mold of a typical jock, typical stereotype.
Right, the dumb jock.
Right, but no, like this guy comes in and he handled business. And how often do you hear like a Jaylen Brown controversy? Like he's quiet, he goes about his business, he handles business, and he does his thing.
Yep,
very active with the communities, so yeah, I'm with him. Like I love it.
You know, another guy who needs to get his flowers is Joe Mazzulla. Man,
yes.
Talk about he made. So actually, JJ and Bron talked about this. One of the adjustments that he made was a new strategy that really, I mean, I'm sure that some people will go fact check this, but I don't think that I've ever heard it talked about until this finals. But he went with the strategy to foul up 6. So his team's up 6 and foul so that even if he makes both free throws, it's still a 2 possession game. You make a 3, it's a 1 possession game. So keeping it at a 2 possession game because of the clock, fouling up 6, which I don't think gets talked about a lot in terms of a strategy. But that came out, and I was like, "Well, that's actually pretty damn smart." Okay, Joe. All right, Joe Mazzulla.
He also put people on notice.
He did.
He did. Coach.
He put a lot of people on notice. There's a lot of like, this guy really ready, you know, homegrown. I mean, he was in the same draft class playing with like Kyrie and all of them. I mean, he was, you know, I think there's a clip out there on Twitter with him going against different people, his little highlight reel.
Yeah.
Because I think he was at West Virginia. Yeah. But no, he's a good coach.
No, clearly.
Talk about coming in and commanding respect.
Right.
I mean, obviously when you got the talent level like that to work with, but I mean, they were a defensive juggernaut.
They were.
All season. That's why when you and I were running through the numbers, I was like, bruh, like these numbers, like they're first in everything. I don't care how good Luka is. They're first in everything.
They are.
Yeah. But there's a reason why they won 14 more games than
the
number
one
Mavs.
seed.
Like, you know, so yeah, no, I mean, hats off to Boston. Yeah. Not the ideal, you know, city that you want to win it. Sick of these Boston teams. But yeah, your boy Luka. So sad to see.
Hey, my boy Luka did what he does.
He did. I will give him that. He did his thing, except for the game prior to the blowout when he fouled out early and was whining and complaining. He does what he does, whining and complaining to the refs the whole time. It just really was not a good look for his team. That's when they had Brian Windhorst talking about how he was a turnstile and had no commitment to defense and blah, blah, blah. And he would just and to his credit, I mean, the next game, he came out and was playing tough defense and and they blew them out. But like, it lasted for 1 game. And so that's the thing. Like for him, in my opinion, for him to get over the hump, he's got to figure out how to play the game without without trying to get a call every time.
Right. Without
you make a move. Without right. And just like, no, I would just say minimal theatrics, right?
Sure,
because sometimes especially if you really did, like it's legit. Like if I really got fouled, I want to say something, whatever. But like every time you make a move,
can't be consistently just complaining and asking for a call. No, agreed, 100%.
So we'll see if this is like the next step in his journey.
So here's the question: has Kyrie gone over that part, the skill level, or not skill level, but the like the takeover Kyrie? Has he passed that stage in his career? Because we expect Kyrie more consistency coming from him as the second option, right? Remember Bron, Kyrie, like is that Kyrie?
But
no
I don't
more?
know. So like when there was an opportunity to do it, like because the Mavs were down, that was the game I was texting you. The Mavs were down by like 20. No. This was game. This would have been game 3.
Okay,
right? Because they were down 20, and then they were coming back at home, and they came back and brought it all the way down to like 2 or 3. But then Luka in my opinion, he put Kyrie in a bad spot by doing that's the theatrics and getting those quick fouls to foul out. And it's like, okay, Kyrie, figure it out, right?
No, I'm not talking about one game, just overall.
I mean, I thought Kyrie played well
because throughout the series, like I heard first game he was missing.
I felt like he played well, but I mean, you like flowers to Drew Holiday, bro. Like Drew's a tough defender. And not only that, but again, Boston had the number 1 team defense in the league. So I think no matter what, I don't think anybody was going to have a problem scoring like that. And so when you take one of your best options out of the game and say, okay, go try to win it down the stretch in the next 2-3, I think he fouled out with like 4 minutes to go. Like, go figure it out. And he had a couple good looks and tried some tough shots. He tried that same shot that he hit over Steph.
Oh, did he?
Yeah,
that was the
and just missed it.
Oh, man.
It was close, but he missed it. And so I don't think he played badly. I just think that they were undermatched as a team completely.
Yeah, they also had like a rookie in a center role, like trying to like these guys. The Boston had a lot more experience,
much more of a veteran team,
right? Than this brand new team, just first time in the NBA, first time figuring it out.
Right. So, and you look at their team, right? You have Drew, who's won a championship.
Yes.
You've had Tatum and Brown, who've been to multiple Eastern Conference finals, to the finals. Right. You have Horford, who's been there with them as well. Yep. Horford also was in the playoffs all the time with Atlanta. Even if we weren't advancing to the final, like we were still had that playoff
in the run.
In the run, you had Derek.
No.
Oh my God, the guy from the Spurs. Derek White. Yeah, I was thinking Derek Brown, and I was like, this wrong color. Derek White, who had some experience too. So like, you just have all that experience, and then you've got Kyrie, who was basically the only one on that team who has any finals or championship experience. So they were just, it was one of those, like, you're undermatched, right?
Clearly.
It was like, it's, what I equate it to would be like when the Thunder played the Heat, right? Nobody on the Thunder, even though they had talent, probably more talent than the Mavs do, but they had talent. Nobody had the experience that Braun and Wade and
right. No, valid point.
So yeah, so now it was fun though. Talk a little smack with you and be like, oh, well, at least you got there. Okay. So is it better to get there and lose the one game or not get there at all? Because in the end,
it's absolutely.
In the end, they ended up in the same spot.
Absolutely better to get there, like we just talked about, literally 30 seconds ago. Experience. So that experience is valuable.
No, I mean, and to his credit, he played well. I mean, he basically was averaging a triple double for.
So I saw this like one, like IG or social media, like first in every category throughout the playoffs, which was insane.
Yeah.
And also considering like the run that the Mavs went through and Boston went through was drastically different.
And that's that part too. I mean, that's the one where I will give credit. Boston's run was, so it's, you say that it's easy, but it's also like.
No, not easy, easier.
It was easier.
Because the best players were not available.
Yeah.
Whereas the other side, every best player was available.
Yeah. No, definitely. I mean, the Mavs had a much tougher gauntlet to get there.
Right.
For sure.
Right.
For sure. Yeah, I think in the end, it wouldn't have mattered whether those star players played or not. Boston was.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Maybe they lose a couple of more games, but I think they only lost 2 games.
Throughout the whole thing, that's crazy.
They lost. Yeah, I think they only lost 2 games.
Almost at Lakers.
No. Because they won 7 with didn't they go 7 with Indiana?
That's right. They did. Because
Yeah.
Tyrese got hurt. You're right.
Yeah. So maybe not. So maybe it was like 4.
The 3 losses right there.
I mean, it's but they were killing it. But I think no matter what, they were going to kill it.
We'll see what happens next year.
We will see. All right. So transition off that. Remember, I told you it was going to be a hard pivot.
It's going to be a hard pivot.
But you said you had something.
I have something off of this next one. But in speaking of our coaching journey.
Oh, yes, that's right. See, I immediately plugged you into the NBA. I forgot about it.
That's right. Let's come back into reality.
So just for a time check, we're at about 33
minutes.
We're about
30-ish, 33-ish minutes. So like real quick, we're in the middle of a basketball season, right?
In the middle?
In the start/middle.
Finish?
All of the above.
The whole season, the
basketball.
Whole, what?
It's a 3-week season.
7 games in 3 weeks?
With minimal practices. So it's a new type of coaching experience.
It's a condensed schedule.
Yes, that's we're trying to bring the NBA games down to whatever number. This is what's happening here, basically. So we're in the middle. We're in the mix of a basketball season. Both of our sons are playing. You're going to be prepping right after that for a football season.
I'm prepping now.
You're prepping now, right? For a very arduous season that's coming up after that.
Yeah.
So I know I'm coming into it, and I'm sure you're preparing into it from all the lessons we have learned from previous seasons, and coming in with a new game plan, a new approach, a new lessons learned, how to attack this new season with a new type of game plan.
Yeah.
And what is, without revealing your playbook, is there something that's key in your mind that's saying, here's one thing I absolutely want to this season that we didn't get a chance?
So I think a couple of things come to mind for me on the football side. Number one, because just for context, I had no intention to head coach last year.
Okay.
Right. So don't remember.
Right.
I went into it wanting to assistant coach so that I could learn and then potentially head coach this year. And then kind of the week before, there was a meeting with all of the coaches or a couple of the coaches because some of them didn't show up. And it was like 5 of them all had kids that they wanted on the American A team.
The A team.
And then they're like, well, we need somebody to coach the B team. And it was like, well,
you got thrown into it.
I just felt like if there's nobody to coach, then how are these kids going to get an experience? And it's not like any of the other dads really stepped up to coach even after I did, asking for more coaches. None of them were really interested in it, except for I finally got 2 of them to help me that I was closer with.
So I think the term's called volunforced.
I mean, kind of was. It was like trying to make them feel like, please help me. Because I don't know what I'm doing. No, so I think for me, going into it this year, because going into it last year, I was in a completely different headspace, conducting the assessments faster.
Okay.
So that way I know who needs to be separated out and who's going to be best for which positions. And then who within those positions can rotate around. But when you're with your backs and receivers, okay, here's who I think might potentially start there, but they could rotate between receivers. They could be tight end. Same thing defensively as well. But basically within the first week and a half, trying to solidify who's on each team. Because generally in this age group, because it's the younger age group, there's more kids.
Okay.
So last year we had 30 something. So you split into 2 teams.
Okay.
I'm anticipating the same thing this year. So for me, last year that split happened so late. Good, bad, or indifferent. Not saying anything about the other coach, but it just that split happened so rather than being in the second, maybe starting the 3rd week of August, it was in the first week of September. So I felt like we lost 2-3 weeks. So the split happened on a Thursday, and literally we had a scrimmage on Saturday that I didn't even have a playbook for. Wow. So I was really behind last year.
Yeah.
But for this year is being prepared going in. Okay, my plan is to take a week, maybe half of the next week with the other coaches, firm up how we assess everybody, how we're going to do the split, figure out who's going to coach the B team because I've got the A team this year. And then how I'm going to, plug my team around and run them within the scheme that I'm doing. So that's number one. Number 2, obviously there's the playbook. So not giving it away, but not like there's anybody scouting our podcast right now for this, but I was kind of relying on the other team's playbook last year, but it was coming along a little slowly. And then apparently there were some updates done and I didn't get those. So I just started winging it week to week and coming up with, 2 new plays that I want to work on next week. And So for me now, it's just trying to get the whole playbook together and finalize so that I can start doing elements of that and incorporating drills that incorporate elements of the offense to make it easier. And then the third thing is blocking. That's the thing every team in our league struggled with was blocking last year. And so just trying to get more of an emphasis and focus this year on the importance of blocking because we can't do anything else without it. Because at this age group,
that's where it starts. Right?
It's we're not running a spread, a shotgun spread, air it out down the field offense, right? You're probably running 95 to 98% of the time, and you might be able to sprinkle in a few screen passes.
The ground game.
If you really got somebody with an arm, you might be able to throw some corner, some a tight end corner route or something. If you roll them out, you gotta roll the quarterback out to that side of the field, and it's got to be something that's open. You generally don't have somebody drop back and just throw it down chuck it down the field. But so yeah, those are the biggest things. It's just
you're not going to get an older kid to play down like some of these teams do. No.
Well, so that's
you see a lot of that.
So that's what's interesting for back when I played. It was just based off of age, but now at least in our area they have our league, it's an age weight matrix. And so at a certain size, like you have to, a certain age and size combination, you have to move up a weight class or down a weight class. So they put you, depending on your age and your weight. They have an official weigh-in and everything. All the teams in the league go to. And they put you where you're supposed to be.
Okay.
But with that, there still comes some, like, that was eye-opening last year too, because you had kids who would, like, I would show up at the weigh-in and help. And you had kids cutting weight. So they were wearing like layers and layers. It's August. It's hot. Running laps. Just running laps around the school. And then they come in and they strip down to weigh in. And it was intense. I was like, it's like
that deep, huh?
From what I've learned, that for some of these programs, it is that deep to get certain kids in certain weight classes.
Sounds like AAU almost.
I was shocked, but I mean, honestly, that I was shocked with. Like, I'm not worried about that because I know exactly where D is going to be, based on his age and weight, and he's going to be in the 80-pound group. But there's always the bubble kids, and there's like a 2.5 pound or so wiggle room that you can have. Okay. But if you bust it, and you have to go up to a different weight class, so you can't, unless you can really have a good job of controlling your kid's weight, you can't just play them up or play them down.
Okay.
Like last year. So, before we were setting up, the boys are here hanging out since it's summertime. And we were talking about it, how I had two of the youngest players, the two youngest players on my team were actually the two biggest. So one of them he was actually designated as cannot carry the ball. And then one of my oldest players was one of our smallest players. So it's definitely a mixed bag. Yeah, no, preparation is the biggest thing is going in. And I was so far behind because we did the split so far that I didn't know what I didn't know.
Right.
And so I was literally figuring out practice like day by day. And like I was telling you, which it kind of shocked you, is like the entire month of August is 5 days a week. And then in September, you switch to 3 days once the kids are in school, firmly in school and whatnot. So, I mean, coming up with a practice schedule for 2 hours a night every night for 30 days. And thankfully, the first couple weeks, we just kind of went with whatever the other team was doing. But once we split, it was like, okay, now I got to figure out
on your own.
So every 3 nights a week, like, okay, what's my practice schedule going to be? And now I can be a little bit more focused. Right. Like, okay, one practice I want to focus on, some speed and agility and installs. It'll be a lighter, no pad, no contact practice, because you also have to limit contact through the week, something you have to monitor as the coach. And then, if another one, you have your more padded contact and drills. Right. And then one we were walking through some light contact, whatever. So kind of planning those out and what our routine is going to be as a team. And hopefully we'll see some more wins translated this year.
All right. Awesome.
So reverse psychology or reverse engineer that to you.
I'll be very quick about it in the sense that what my main takeaway for this season was. So I'm going to say this. You're older now. Kids are older.
Mm-hmm.
My first question to them was, who here is going to try out for the middle school? So if you're trying out for the middle school team, what do you think this is enough? What we're about to do today? Or maybe if you do it 2 days or even 3 days a week, is this enough to make the middle school team? And then if you make it, is it good enough to be a good player on that middle school team?
Mm-hmm.
Is it good enough at each level up you go? I just need them to get that mentality. Like, so if I'm not good, if I was a coach and I saw you come and try out for this team, and you don't have a left hand now, who's going to start in 60 days, maybe? Mm-hmm. So if you have a good left hand now or an off hand now, and I see a kid who does have a good offhand, that's a simple decision for me as a coach. I just wanted them to click. Oh, let that click. Ones who are going to take and run with that are going to do it. Ones who are not. So you may want to consider those expectations of trying out for that team, knowing if I can't even do the basics now, I should start, right? I should start now. And I just want them to like have that wake up call and not live in this like, you know what I mean? Like managing expectations.
Mm-hmm.
You may be hearing a lot of things from your parents and your friends and all that, but you can't do the basics. And as a coach, and also reminding them, this is just a snippet of the kids trying out for that. There's only 15 spots on that team. So there's how many of you in this league? How many of you in this town?
Mm-hmm.
How many of you in this county? Right? Or at least for your school trying out.
Yep.
So think about that. If you're not even a top player in this league, You want to try for the middle school team.
Right.
You can't play. You can't do a basic thing, make a left-handed layup or dribble with your left hand, a crossover through your leg or dribble behind your back. I mean, I'm not trying to be the bearer of bad news, but again, hopefully it's a wake-up call. That was my whole purpose of like, and obviously teaching them the RBA way, the mindset, be tough and all that. But you're at that stage now where the next stage is coming. You're not in Kansas anymore, Toto, right? We're not in Kansas anymore, Toto. We're about to hit the big leagues, or at least bigger league. So do something about it, right? If you want that position, do something about it, because you're about to fight for that position with a lot of other kids who can do something about it. That was my main.
The other thing I like that you shared with them too was about, look, we're only here for an hour.
Right.
Are we going to get that much better in an hour? Slightly. But more important is what's going to be done after.
Right.
And when, kind of like when no one's watching, right? But talk about just take 30 minutes, a day. You're home for the summer, and yeah, sure. I'm sure some kids got camps or whatever, but like, look, everybody can take 30 minutes just to practice dribbling. Dribble one hand, two hand, crossover through your legs,
so just
figure
shoot.
Eights.
There you go.
Well, even if you don't have a hoop, right? Let's just say you don't have a hoop, right? But you can still practice your dribble, and you can practice you don't need a lot of space to be able to do all of that without,
It's like our assistant coach, right? Like Sean says, things you can do for free.
Man, that was one.
That's a bar.
I'm biting that bar for my season.
Football, right?
It's like the little things you can do for free. Yeah, okay. You might not have a big field, or even if you don't have anybody to throw you the ball, but that doesn't mean if you're a running back, you can't go run. If you're a lineman, you can't practice getting into a stance and popping out of it, right? Little things you can do for free.
Absolutely.
That cost nothing other than time.
Right. And that's the other thing, right? Like it's the summer. And you could be doing camps and all that, but if you really want it, you'll make time.
Right.
You will absolutely make time. Right. Like I can tell you, like, Tage, if I only had the work ethic he has, if I only had it at his age, at what he had, the kid's like super, not because he's my son, because he's shown it to me. Like, he's hungry. He's hungry. He understands that he's in a position of privilege where we can give him those facilities. We can give him that luxury to go try out, and here's an opportunity that I never had.
Right.
Now, what are you going to do with it? So I see him taking full advantage of it. Like, we're going out. He doesn't need to go, but he wants to in the heat. We're out there running hills in the heat, right? And I'm watching. I'm like, man, had I only had this workout, right? But
you might have been JJ Redick.
But it's beautiful to see that he's embodied that RBA mentality to full. I have this dream, I have this passion that I want to make the most of, and that could be the league, could be college, it could be nothing. It could be nothing. But he takes that mentality with him wherever he goes, in whatever discipline job he does in his life. And I stole this from Eric Spoelstra. How you do anything is everything. And that mentality, that work ethic in everything you do will be consistent. And a person like that, in my opinion, can't fail, right? Or will not succeed in whatever they try. At least most they try to do in life. So and that's why I learned from him. He's a role model in some essences to me, because I learn from, I don't care how old or young you are. It's always something to learn from you. So it's beautiful to see that, and then showing him another kid, like, look, that kid, look what he's doing. Right? He's the next level. Like the kid you told me about, who's dominating football and basketball. Right? Now, if we were to go watch that kid's team, we'd probably be super impressed.
Right.
And he's probably a role model for our kids. Right? So there's always somebody outdoing you, outworking you. So it's never like, don't get complacent.
Well, and then the other thing too is, not only are there going to be people who outwork you, but then there's going to be some people who just flat out have more God-given ability.
There you go. Right.
Than you have.
Right.
And they're, especially right now, they're able to get away with it.
Correct.
But what's going to happen is, incrementally over time, if you're outworking them, you will surpass them.
Correct. Because for them, it's like, oh, this is good. It's easy. I don't need to work as hard.
Right.
Whereas you are, and that catch up at some point is going to.
It's that phrase, hard work beats talent, that when talent doesn't work hard. And so, but it's good to see, like, and it's good. And that's what I love about Tage too, is that even if he sees somebody who has the talent, it's not like, oh my God, like, I work hard and all of this, and there's all these kids who are more talented than me. It's like, nope, I'm ready for the challenge.
Yeah. Like,
I'm ready for the battle.
There's no room for that. We don't.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's good, because a lot of kids, I think, struggle with that. It's like, And also struggle with the distractions of being a kid.
Correct.
And wanting to do other things with their friends and like,
Absolutely.
oh no, like how I know I got to dedicate myself to this.
Like I'm gonna go hang out with my friends, but I got to get my homework done.
Right.
Right. In that sense, like as long as I get my homework done, I get 30 less minutes to hang out time, but I got to put in my time.
Right.
And it's something like we live by, and something I've ingrained in our kids is that if you want to be different, you got to do different. If you want to be like everybody else, then do everybody else things. Right.
That's the bar. Say that again.
Right? Like if you want to be different, then you got to do different. You can't be like everybody. Everybody's doing everybody else things, right? The normal everyday things. That's why we all everyday regular people. But if you want the guy in the bleachers to cheer your name, you got to be different. Because the casuals are sitting in the bleachers who are not willing to do what you're trying to do.
Right.
Simple as that. So, but it's that sacrifice, which is the other part. When I say had I had the work ethic and even the discipline, he has cut so many kid-like things out of his diet, which is amazing to me. Like I'm shocked because even like as an adult, I haven't been able to do that. It gave up soda, gave up all like flavored, like artificially flavored drinks, gave up like all sorts of like weird sugars, artificial like processed foods. Super like he just went to super healthy mode because he understands that he's gonna live longer than he's gonna play. So I want to be able to be healthy. There's no guarantee of life, but the mental strength that he's shown me has inspired me to want to be more healthier in my life, so I can at least try to make the most out of this vehicle that I've been temporarily rented out. I've been given. I'm on rent, right? We're all on rent.
That's true.
We all got to return this one day.
I've never heard it put that way, but it's facts,
right? Like everyone's body's for rent, right? You've been given something for rent, and then what you do with it until we have to return it. And he understands that, and that's a comfortable conversation in our house, right? That one day it's gonna end. So it's nothing to be like. It's not like a bad thing. It's keeping things in check and perspective. Like let's make the most of it. Yep. You approach it that way. So, and I'm amazed by like some of the things. Like it's not like a age like. I'm trying to highlight. No, I'm not doing that. This is more so about I'm learning from him. I'm learning from anyone who does things like that. It's amazing. It's beautiful to watch like kids who we talk about like, I make a joke, right? Gen Z, Generation Cupcake, softies and whatever. But like there are a group of kids who are not that. And it's beautiful to come across and watch those kids and learn from those kids that know the future. Like there is hope. Yeah. There is hope.
No, I mean, I love when you come across a kid and you can truly see something that they're super passionate about.
Yeah.
And that passion, like it surpasses everything. Right. If I tell D like, oh, we're going to go to a football field, it does not matter.
Right.
He could have a scheduled day-long video game marathon. Right. And he'd be like, oh, I'm going to football field. Absolutely.
Right.
I mean, 5 hours, 4.5 hours
yesterday, right?
that we spent yesterday, like had the time of his life. Right.
Yeah.
Like, so
dude, I tried to stop that clinic so the kids would go home twice.
No, like 3 or 4 times.
And they wouldn't leave.
They wouldn't leave. It's like, okay, we're going to keep going then.
And I was telling
felt bad for that mom, but like, oh well.
Our son was begging her.
I know.
Right.
I know. He loved it.
So it was,
but it's great to see the passion and like, and that's what same thing. Like I tell him like, look, we're in a position to support your passion as long as you're willing to put in the work.
Right.
You got to be willing to do the work. We can't tell you.
Correct.
If I'm constantly telling you to do the work,
you ain't hungry enough. Right.
It's not even hungry enough. It's just like it's not there for you.
Right. Yeah. Right.
It can just be a hobby. Right.
True.
But when you get up and you do it yourself, then we know that it's real.
Like if I have to tell you to slow down, maybe like because you're overdoing it.
Right.
But it's a blessing.
It is.
And it's a blessing to be a coach and to be in a position to kind of influence these young minds and kind of like show them be a positive figure in their life. Hopefully maybe they may not see me like that now.
Bro, I'm so excited to get my first cut of the roster. Like I can't wait. I can't wait because I can't wait to start like just scheming it up to like, okay, like, cause I know most of the kids that should be back and, and of course there's going to be some new kids that I don't know, but just start to like, okay, how can I put them in a position where they get the best out of the experience. And the big thing is, and this is what our commissioner harps on now, and he's a great dude. We have to get him on one day. But like, he's like, yeah, we want to be competitive. We want them to play hard, learn the foundations and the fundamentals. But most importantly, we want them to come back and we want them to keep playing football.
Exactly.
And, you know, we have some kids that are coming from this other program that's more AAU-ish. And they're coming because the experience is not fun. They either get too run into the ground, which football is very different than basketball with that, or they are getting there and like not getting to play. And it's like, well, what's the point?
There you go.
I'm not going to love football sitting on the bench. And yes, of course, as you progress, like there's backups and what, like you're not always going to be a starter. But the point is, at this age, like
you feel the passion.
In order to even be a backup, you gotta know and learn how to play.
Absolutely.
And they're from what I understand, sucking the passion out of it. So that's what I look forward to doing. But
yeah, well, I do want to say, Dage, if you're watching, this is not, bro. You still gonna get this work. You ain't.
Don't get it twisted.
So let's not get it twisted. Like this ain't a Dage highlight session.
No,
you are nowhere near beating your old man. You got a long way to go.
Long way.
Yeah, you still gonna get this work, and you're probably never gonna beat your old man. So let's get that on tape. I got receipts. Hopefully, I don't have to eat my own words.
I mean, I think you have probably a good another 6-7 years.
Wow. You heard it. That's the timeline, the prediction. You got.
I mean, you're talking about. I'm talking about high school. I think he's gonna be taller than you.
Oh, he's gonna be taller.
He's gonna be taller than you, and then like I think.
He wants to be way before that though.
Oh no,
he thinks middle school is what he thinks. So
okay,
that's ambitious.
That's very ambitious. Well, we love it. We love passionate and ambition in youth sports.
So.
All right. Well, with that, let's go ahead and wrap it up. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. And I know we had a little bit more on the agenda, but as always, we kind of just do what our own thing. So we'll just save that for next time.
Exactly.
Well, you know, we got something locked and loaded in the chamber for next time.
Yes, sir.
Other than that, we appreciate y'all. Follow us at Think RBA.
Yes, sir. Remember, ring that bell
everywhere. Subscribe, ring the bell. And until next time, we'll see you. Peace.